Scott just made the
back
point.
to Thomas
Jefferson
Jefferson,
you'll
used
read
to be a
that.
lot more secure, not just.
Less than a week before the 2000 presidential election, news broke that then Texas Governor George W. Bush had pleaded guilty to driving while intoxicated 24 years earlier, after a binge drinking bout with world-famous Australian tennis champion John Newcombe. Well, someone just broke similar news about Hillary Clinton, and you won't believe who did the breaking. I'm PJTV's Scott Ott, joined now by Bill Whittle and Stephen Green. And men, as you recall, Bush eked out a victory in the wake of that shameful binge drinking revelation, nearly losing the White House to famous moralist Al Gore. So imagine my surprise when I found a video of an apparent ambush interview with Hillary Clinton on the topic of her own binge drinking duels. And imagine my further shock and awe when I discovered that it's on Hillary Clinton's own presidential campaign YouTube channel.
Have you ever won a drinking competition?
Well, I haven't been in many of them, but the most famous one, I suppose, is the one that I engaged in with Senator John McCain when we were on a congressional delegation, and he kind of challenged me. We have our political differences, but we sat there drinking vodka until we both, I think, agreed to withdraw in honorable fashion, having, I think, reached the limits that either of us should have had.
So it was a tie.
I consider it a tie, yes.
Generous.
Now, a note to my co-panelists and our viewers, that was the full piece that was on the Clinton website. Despite the 5 jump cuts in the first 20 seconds of that video, we didn't cut anything. That's how it appears on YouTube. So, let me explain what you just heard. No, there is too much. Let me sum up. Hillary Clinton, in her mid-50s, engaged in binge drinking on the job, on a taxpayer-funded trip, and acknowledged that it wasn't the only time she played drinking games as a grown-up, and she revealed all of this as part of her campaign to become the next president of the United States. Now, you can find my story about it and the video at pjmedia.com, and we'll link it here. Stephen Green, as a famous teetotaler, perhaps you don't feel equipped to answer this, but take a shot anyway. Does any part of this surprise you? And what, if any, consequences will Clinton face in the primary or general elections?
I think you're looking at this thing wrong. That is, at least for people who are already inclined to like Hillary, or people who might be on the fence. This video humanizes her. You know, she's as warm as I think I've ever seen her. She's laughing a lot, and we don't get to see a whole lot of that. And it's the less grating version of her laugh. She's talking about a perfectly human foible when, you know, most of the time she looks and sounds like the Romulan ambassador on Star Trek. So I think this is an effective little video. I think this helps her, even if only in some very small way. And I'll go a little further. I did a thing at Bullets and Bourbon down in Texas back in December, and I was talking about the bar bill for George Washington's farewell party in Philadelphia. I think after the Constitutional Convention, or going into the Constitutional Convention, I can't remember that deal now. But it had the bar tab for this event. And it was for him and a bunch of his soldiers from the Revolutionary War. I can't remember which unit. There were about 50 or 100 men there. And the bar bill worked out, if you did the math, if you added up all the booze that was purchased, if you divided by the number of people there, 2 bottles of wine per person, over a pint of whiskey per person, cider, we can assume hard cider, in about something like a quart per person. And this is what they drank in one night. This is what they did after creating the nation, after beating the British, after writing the Constitution. So I look at these things and I think to General, I think of what Abe Lincoln said about General Grant and his drinking. Well, you know, find out what he drinks and send a case to each of my other generals. Maybe it'll do Hillary some good. It certainly couldn't do her any more harm.
Well, Bill Whittle, you've suggested that candidates should air their dirty laundry before their opponents have a chance to rub their noses in it. Is Hillary Clinton just following Bill Whittle's advice, or is there something else at play here?
One thing we can be sure of is that Hillary Clinton is not following Bill Whittle's advice. I think I have to agree with Steve on this. I'd heard about the clip, but I hadn't seen it till just now. I think she comes off a lot better than I thought she did. I think a part of this is that kind of, gunslinging kind of, we came, we saw, he died, I'm a regular, rootin' tootin' kind of a tough drinking kind of cowgirl kind of thing. But I agree with Steve. I thought actually she was a lot more warm and honest and human and than I'd seen her before. She actually dressed like a human as well, except for the necklace, of course. I mean, she wasn't wearing the jumpsuit. She actually looked like she looked nice, except for the necklace. If you actually look at the necklace, it's like she said to Uma, it's like, hey, so go out and get me a turquoise necklace. Okay, how much turquoise would you like on that necklace? All of it. Get me all the turquoise there is, and make a necklace, and it will probably be able to deflect incoming arrows or crossbow bolts or something. I mean, seriously, you look at that, it's got to be like a 60-pound necklace she's wearing. It's very elegant, just like the rest of Hillary. As far as the drinking thing goes, there's so much here to say about that. There are pictures of her partying. I think you may have remembered some of those where she's just lit. Yeah, I think she drinks. I really do. I think the thing that's most interesting to me about this clip is not really relating to her at all. It's just since the 17th Amendment destroyed the Senate as the House of the states, as the chamber of Congress that was designed to protect the rights of the states, since that disappeared with the 17th Amendment at the beginning of the 20th century, listening to stories about Hillary Clinton, Democratic nominee for president, and John McCain, former Republican nominee for president, going out and getting lit is convincing me more and more that we should probably just scrap the Senate. I don't see any point to it. It's the House of Lords now is really what it is. It really is just the House of Lords. It's where the chummy good old people from the inside the Beltway, we've been here for 50 years, and we go out and drink together, and it's us versus the people. It really is. That's what that got out of that story. We're on the people's business. We're drunk out of our minds. We're the standard bearers for the two different parties, and we're just having the finest old time on the taxpayers' dime. Let's get rid of the Senate. Or overturn the 17th Amendment and the rest of the progressive amendments for that matter. And the 16th, too, I think.
You're here.
The people, they have no vodka. Let them eat potatoes, she said. Well, the historically obvious reason for this video release is that Hillary Clinton wants to preempt opposition attacks. I mean, that's the way they used to do it. The presence of Senator John McCain in the story offers an insurance shield since Republicans nominated Hillary's binge drinking buddy in 2008. I mean, one of her binge drinking buddies anyway. But that's old school thinking. She's not afraid of this revelation. She thinks the kids will think it's cool. But will they really? I mean, just because a young adult plays the occasional beer pong match doesn't mean that she wants to see grandma do it too, especially if grandma has her finger on the nuclear trigger. And keep in mind, this vodka shots drinking bout happened while she was representing the United States of America on foreign soil. We're interviewing Hillary Clinton for the top executive post in the world. During the interview, she's bragging about the kind of stuff that smart college grads purge from their Instagram accounts before sending out resumes. You know, the first step to recovery is to admit that you have a problem. Usually that admission involves less laughter and more contrition, but then I don't think that the Democratic Party has hit bottom yet, do you? For Stephen Green, Bill Whittle, and the entire Trifecta crew at pjtv.com, I'm Scott Ott.